views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good evening. Welcome to Bronx Talk. This is a very challenging time for a lot of people, a lot of businesses, and a lot of organizations. As we well know, businesses and organizations had to shut down and then figure out how they were going to survive and reopen within social distance and mask guidelines. We thought what we would do tonight is talk to a business and a organization that has gone through that process, that shut down and said, you know, what are we going to do to survive and what are we going to do to get ourselves back open? And in fact, they both are doing pretty well being creative and being innovative. And one of the things that I thought would be really good to do is talk to them, find out how they did it, what they went through. Number one, to inform people of the Bronx about what the possibilities are. And then also, if you've got a business or organization, you can say, wow, maybe we ought to do it this way. You never know. Anyway, let's start off this part of the program with my buddy Dave Lindsay from the Kingsbridge Social Club. Nice to have you with us, Dave.
Gary, thank you for having me.
So Dave is at the social club as we speak, and I guess under other circumstances, the mask would be up. But I guess you guys are practicing all the appropriate social distancing and all the other guidelines to keep yourself and your employees safe.
Absolutely. I'm separated enough from everybody else in the restaurant that the mask is ready to go on, and then at a moment's notice if necessary.
If necessary. Talk to me about what happened when this came out, and of course the orders came down, and plain logic would dictate that a business would have to shut down. Talk to me about what you did. You just simply closed the doors and said, that's it? Let's rewind the clock a little bit.
I think I was talking to one of my partners, and it truly was. It got to a point where it was, you know, like let's list, you know, old school list of pros and cons of why, you know, like what are the pros of staying open? What are the cons of staying open? What are the pros of keeping the business going? You know, what are the cons? And it got to the point where it was just, you know, we didn't know what we were looking at. We didn't know what was going to be coming. And I wanted to make sure that both my customers and the employees and myself, that everybody was going to be safe. So you know, it was a really difficult decision to make, but I felt it necessary to shut down.
Now, how many employees do you have, you know, during normal times? Then we'll talk about where we're at now.
Yeah, between 12 and 15. Both front of house staff and kitchen staff.
People who have frequented the Kingsbridge Social Club, like myself, we know it's a relatively small place. It's one of these real nice community-friendly places. It's not like a huge restaurant. So this is, in my mind, a classic small business. Now, about when was that? In March or early April? When did you actually close up?
That was just a little bit after St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, so it was mid-March. So now you're closed. You know, I'm sure you have rent and other expenses, you know, that you're used to paying all the time. And then, and so now you're kind of like, well, what do we do now? At what point did you say to yourself, we kind of got to do something. We got to get ourselves going. Recently, was it right at the beginning? You know, did you start your strategic process then? Just talked about how this all developed.
Well, I mean, we were kind of back and forth talking about, you know, if and when we would be able to open again. I'll say that we are one of the lucky ones that was able to receive the PPP funding. And then it really is. It got to the point where it was like, all right, well, we have to get our employees paid, and try to bring back as many people as we can, because once that loan is, once you accept that loan, you have 8 weeks to pay your employees and try to bring them, bring your employee level back to what you had previous.
And so there was a little bit of pressure to say, well, wait a minute, number one, we've got to pay employees. And number two, obviously, you wanted to do something to keep the business open. One of the things that I wanted to communicate during this program, not only for you, we're going to be talking, by the way, with the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club right afterwards, which is a different type of organization, so not-for-profit and all that, is that I think if businesses can be creative, if they can say, you know what, okay, this is what we used to do. We used to have a really nice community place where people would get good food, be able to sit at the bar and all that. But if you can be creative and say, well, how can we reformat? Let's take a step back. Then I think then that's the way, you have a chance. And businesses that do that will in fact have a chance. So what was the dialogue about, and how long ago? So let's say if you closed down around mid-March, was it the beginning of April? Was it the middle of April? At what point did you say, all right, push is coming to shove?
I mean, it was honestly only a few days before we opened.
Really?
I mean, we really didn't know what to expect when we did reopen. I didn't know if the neighborhood was going to jump back, and support us to the level that they were before. It's been amazing, honestly. So it was really just open the door and try to figure it out as you go
and roll the dice. Yeah. Now, so what you've done, and let's be clear, the restaurant is not open for usual business. I mean, people aren't flocking in there. That would certainly be inappropriate and probably break all the guidelines that are out there. So you've decided to do delivery and takeout. That's what you're doing right now.
Well, delivery and takeout is all you can do. There may be some time in the future that we'll be able to have people dine in, but that's not. I don't see that that's going to be anytime soon. So
that's not in the foreseeable future.
I'm looking at a delivery and takeout, for the foreseeable future.
So let's start with employees. I mean, you had undoubtedly, waiters and waitresses. You had cooks, maybe an administrative personnel or two. Did you bring everybody back? Did you have to work? Are you working now with a shorter staff? How's it working out?
It's a little bit of a shorter staff. I've had to the first week, especially the first day, that Wednesday, it did get really busy to the point where
really?
We had to, yeah. So it was a learning process. So after that first day, I realized, like, all right, I need to figure out a way to kind of not have everybody come in at the same time. Like you said, it kind of goes against the whole idea of what we're trying to do here. So it's trying to figure out ways to space the customers, so not everybody's coming, because it seems like right now everybody eats dinner at the exact same time. So everybody's eating at 6 p.m. It's not, like New York, normally people eat, kind of from 5:30 until 11 o'clock at night. Now everybody's eating at 6, so you get that real heavy dinner rush. So it's trying to space that out, so like not everybody's coming at the same time.
So let's just be clear. So you said that Wednesday that's I'm trying to catch my dates. So so you've been open now about 10 days.
Been open about 10 days, yeah.
About 10 days. So now and the employees are back, but you've staggered them according to how you've perceived the business and the flow, so that people are working in the kitchens and preparing the foods. That's what we're talking about.
And I've asked everybody back. A lot of the kitchen staff has returned. Most of the kitchen staff has returned. A lot of the wait staff, just because they're going to have to take the trains, they're not comfortable yet all of them, understandably. But if and when they're ready to come back, we'll do our best, and we're going to try to figure out a way to get everybody back in.
And in a kitchen where people often cook together, or they pass a dish, a plate from one to the other, and somebody adds something, you've been able to socially distance them or keep them appropriately apart?
Yeah, I mean, like I have the mask on right now. I mean, it when I'm in the main part of the restaurant, it's on 100% of the time.
And people feel secure that they're being taken care of. I want to talk about, Dave, the way you've done it. Now, if you go to and listen, we'll give the plug. Go to the Kingsbridge Social Club on the web, and please do. I found that it's really nicely laid out. So, did you hire somebody to do that? Do you have an internal person? And again, this is just to advise people who are saying, "Gee, if I want to open my restaurant, how do I do it?"
Well, I mean, there are third-party ways of setting up your menu online. We were lucky enough that the website builder that we use also offers an online ordering section. So that's been really great, in the way that people can go on, they can order whatever they want, and then also, I mean, you can order beer, wine, and cocktails with the loosening of some of the New York City and New York State laws. So you can order everything, pay for it right there, and we'll even let you know, when it's ready, that the order's in progress.
And people can then come by and pick it up.
Yeah, we even have. I know that you took a picture of it, but we just put that out yesterday, where you can pull up your car, and if you have ordered online, that's the only way that you can do the curbside, is that you can pull your car up, and if we have sent you a notice saying that your food's ready, that will run out, and there's no transaction that needs to be
right, because it's already been done online. Wow.
Exactly. Yep.
And did you run the full menu, or did you feel like you could essentially? My perception was it looked like pretty much your full menu.
Yeah, we had to trim it down a little bit just so that we're using items in multiple. I mean, you do this in a menu anyway, but especially now, just using an item in multiple sections of the menu, so that we're not bringing on a lot of product just for like one item on the menu. Like, unfortunately, we had to get rid of the clams, at least for now.
Because you couldn't make them for takeout. And also, I noticed alcoholic beverages. That's not usually done during delivery or takeout, but that is possible during this rather unusual time.
You can't do it with delivery if you're using a third-party delivery system, which we use with Uber Eats and DoorDash. But if you provide your own delivery, then you can. But yeah, takeout, absolutely.
Dave, just to summarize, what advice is there for other businesses who are saying, gee, that's interesting. I heard the Kingsbridge Social Club is doing it, and they claim to be doing well. You work through social media, and you got a lot of your customer base back in some form. What's the advice for them if they want to try and do this?
I mean, honestly, I think that that trying to keep positive, listen to your employees. I went into this, and the very first day I was like, hey, I've never been through this. So whatever ideas that you have, as my coworkers, please let me know, and we can attempt whatever we can possibly do. But yeah, really listen to your employees and keep positive throughout all this with as much as you possibly can.
I really like that idea, and the reason I like it a lot is because if with community, we can all do better. And if you're an employer and you don't have much regard for your employees, it'll show in the long run, one way or the other. It's really kind of comforting to hear that you've treated your people as well as could be through this. So again, what is the website is Kingsbridge Social Club?
KingsbridgeSocialClub.com. You can call us too. I'd rather have the website is actually an easier way for all of us. But you can call us at 347-346-5180. and delivery through our third party.
Right, and there is a charge for the delivery. Let's be clear. So if you are in by the way, they're located right near the Riverdale Diner on let's see, 238th, right off Broadway. That's where people can find it. Congratulations for being open. We are going to order again and stop by and pick it up. And we certainly hope that things just continue to go well. The best would be that I can come out and hang out and sit at the bar, and we could have a couple of beers, have some really good, coal oven pizza, and one day we'll get to do that again, just not right now.
Exactly.
Great. Dave Lindsay from Kingsbridge Social Club, thank you so much for joining us. Folks, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club, whole different set of circumstances to get them so that they can still run their programs. Kind of unbelievable. We'll be right back. Back with you on Bronx Talk, and I am so thrilled to have Yolanda Roberson, who is, I want to get it right, the John E. Grimm III Clubhouse Director of the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club. Yolanda, so nice to have you with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So this is a challenging time for everybody. In the previous segment, we talked about a restaurant and a business who said, we got to figure out how to get running again. I mean, this is a very difficult time. So they're doing, they reformatted how they handle food and delivery and things like that. When all this happened, what was your thinking at the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club?
My basic thought was, how are we going to reach all the members that we have? We serve about 5,000 members a year from all 6 of our clubhouses. And the main point was that we were always going to be able to serve them in some sort of way. So we moved to virtual after-school programming.
Well, one of the things about after-school sessions, let's be frank, is that the kids come in, there's personal contact. I mean, and then what you're saying is, gee, we can't do any of that, but you were pretty hopeful about putting that together. Were you shut down at all? Was there a period of time where you said, geez, we got to step back and figure it out? Or you were able to somewhat seamlessly move through it? Just talk about that process a little bit.
We shut down for about a week and a half, and then our leadership team came up with the idea to make sure that we have virtual after-school programming. We call it VAP rooms, and it just progressed as we went along. So we tried to figure out what would those rooms look like, who would we serve in those rooms, how would we promote those rooms.
Well, one of the things that Dave Lindsay from the Kingsbridge Social Club mentioned in terms of him trying to reformat his business, and it was very interesting, and it sounds like you have the same thing. He said, listen to your employees, let them have input. You obviously work in a much more social service sort of setting. So I'm guessing you got a kind of a team of people together, and people got together to figure it out.
We have an amazing team of people, from leadership down to clubhouse directors to our supporting staff. So we all came together to discuss what the needs would be for our youth.
Could you list for me and I really have to tell you, I think it's actually remarkable to take a look at after school programs where the kids do arts and crafts or any of the other even physical activities, and run down a little bit about some of the programs that you are running virtually, which to me again is a miraculous concept when you think about it.
Well, normally we are open and we run programs such as homework help. We run social rec. We run physical activity programs. We also run arts and crafts, dance, music. So we try to figure out how we would take those programs and move it to a virtual platform. So currently we have 4 virtual after-school program rooms that we do run. So we do academic support, where we help kids with homework, educational games. We also have breakout sessions for kids. We do a junior recreation/art room, where we'll have recreational activities, STEM programs for kids, as well as leadership programs and dance. Then we move over to a teen lounge, where we have a lot of fun with the teens. It's teen talk time we have. We also do gaming with the teens, art with the teens. And then we have a health and wellness room. that we promote just to make sure that the kids are doing things the right way.
When you say academic support, so do you have a teacher and then the youngsters sit at a computer, presumably, or an iPad of some sort, or a device of some sort, and then interact? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have multiple staff in each of the rooms. So if we have kids that need to work on homework, we'll put it in a breakout session with an educational support staff that'll help them with their homework. So we have education directors in certain rooms. We have sports and fitness directors, empowerment directors, assistant clubhouse directors. I'm in a room helping. So next week, I'm actually running a program with our juniors on doing vision boards.
I'm incredibly inspired by this, I have to tell you, because it's one of these situations like we're just not going to stop our mission, and we're not going to stop achieving our mission. So I'm just trying to visualize it. So the kids sit there and they'll come and say, this is my homework for today. And then a staff member will work with them. About how many youngsters in a room?
We're averaging probably about 30 kids in all 4 rooms. So, you know, we're making sure that each room has a certain amount of kids, and we have staff to member ratio in those rooms.
Mm-hmm. And let's say, I mean, I'm just looking, there's from the list that you said, there's a dance program. How do you run a dance program
we run the dance program in the breakout room. So the kids go into like a separate space with the program staff, and they'll do workouts, they'll do routines. TikTok is very hip nowadays, you know, the TikTok videos. So kids love to do TikTok videos. I'm trying my best to learn. But they love that. It's just the interaction and the engagement that the staff have with the kids. It can be from the members to adults or for peer-to-peer interaction, which is amazing. Families are amazing in terms of supporting us with having the kids come on, and we also support the families with keeping their kids involved while maybe mom needs to cook dinner or mom needs, you know, a half an hour to just relax because she's been home all day, or dad.
So again, just going down the list of things that you said, let's talk about the teen lounge.
Sure.
They get together and talk about stuff.
We talk about
how to characterize it.
Right. We talk about everything from music to, you know, social media to what's the pandemic. I mean, that's on everyone's mind. You know, when are things going to go back to normal? When is the club going to open? That's our number one question we get. Teens interact with one another. They haven't seen each other. Everyone's, you know, social distancing and at home. So it's just, hey, I haven't seen you in forever. And they have their dialogue amongst each other. And we also do a lot of gaming. That's been a lot of fun with the kids as well.
Describe to me what that gaming is. I do want to follow up on the whole social interaction thing, but you mentioned gaming. How does that kind of thing work?
Oh, we love to play. We're very competitive with charades, taboo, Kahoot. Those are some of the games that I'm learning how to play, and I'm getting pretty good at it, and the kids are really enjoying it. And it's games that you can play online that they can play together.
You know, I'm tremendously inspired by it, in part because in order to manage these things, you must really have a great staff, because they have to really be dedicated to doing these things. It's one thing to do it in a room with kids and they're all running around or whatever they're doing, but it's another thing to try and keep their attention in through this challenging medium. So my shout out to your staff, but maybe you want to have a quick word about who they are.
Oh, definitely. All Madison staff are trained on how to work with the youth and youth development. So you have to be creative, you have to be resourceful, you have to be engaging. Classroom management, you still have to have classroom management, even though we're doing things virtual to keep order. So the entire staff at the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club are amazing.
I know that you are forever hopeful. You couldn't do what you do if you weren't forever hopeful. But there are signs out there. I mean, some of the communities are complaining now that all of a sudden graffiti is popping up again. Talk about how the kids are doing from your perception. And again, we know it's funny. They want to go back to school because they just want to get out of the house and see their friends. But how are they doing, and what are your concerns for them through this obviously very challenging time?
Well, one of the things we implemented as an organization is that we do weekly outreach to our families. So we check in with them every week via emails, text messages. We use remind.com, phone calls, just to see how everyone's doing. And, you know, some of the concerns parents have were technical issues that they were having, concerns in regards to how to keep their kids engaged, as well as food issues that they were having. So kids are home all day. What are they doing? Eating. They eat everything.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right. So parents want to know how they can continue to feed their families if they're not working, if their work is limited. So those are some of the things that we do help them with as well.
And then also, of course, the lack of physical activity. I mean, you know, kids go, boys and girls now. I know for myself, we used to go out and, you know, run a couple of basketball games during the day in the park. Now they can't do that. It is, I'm sure, a challenge for parents to figure out, especially if they're eating a lot. I mean, you know, we talk about obesity problems. Now you're captivated, you're home, and they want to eat a lot, and yet you can't get them out and do physical activities.
Well, we offer physical activity for them. So we do fitness. We had actually a fitness expert the other day come in, and she did an amazing workout with the kids. So every week we try to have some volunteers come in, or even our staff, just to do physical activity with the kids to keep them active.
Wow. And about, again, you talked about classes of 30. Do you have a sense now, general population, how many are you serving?
Overall, for all of our 6 clubhouses, I believe on a daily basis, it should be around that 30 to 50 number for all of our clubhouses. And
unlike maybe when you have physical space considerations, you could do many more if people could log in and sign up, right? I mean, it doesn't matter how many windows you have, right?
Correct. We do have an unlimited number of windows, and we can invite as many kids as we want. We do invite those kids, but again, some have technical issues. There's other things going on that they may not be able to log on. So we're still reaching out. We get different kids on different days based off of, you know, things that they have to do. So we're continuously doing outreach to those kids. Hopefully we'll have hundreds of kids in each room every single day. That is our goal.
Well, let's put out contact information. How do they get to you during this virtual time so that the parents and the youngsters can participate?
Well, currently we use Zoom rooms, so I could send you a flyer with all our meeting ID numbers. Right. And we can have the kids log on based off of their interest and their age.
Is there a website they can go to find more information?
www.madisonsquare.org.
Before we let you go, I want to do a little bit of a shout out. I know you host food distribution services. You do that Wednesday at your clubhouse in collaboration with Amber and CC Sabathia for their Pitchin Foundation. I guess right now there's just not enough food for everybody, and whatever people can do, we got to try and do, right?
Correct. So on Wednesdays, we have food pantries at both our Bronx clubhouses. So our clubhouse, which is located on 543 East 189th Street in the Bronx, and also our Joe E. Smilo clubhouse, which is located at 1665 Hope Avenue in the Bronx. And they're both sponsored by the Pitchin Foundation, as well as the New York Yankees and our Bronx board.
Great. Listen, Yolanda Roberson, that's what I give you, a little applause from me.
Thank you.
We really appreciate what you're doing. You're always taking care of young people in the Bronx, and that's numero uno as far as I'm concerned. And during this particular time, it's even higher than number one. So we really appreciate what you're doing at the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club.
Well, thank you. I'm a Bronx kid. I'm actually a club kid. I grew up at the clubhouse that I'm actually the director of. So it means that much more to me.
Great. You're doing a wonderful job. Folks, that is the end of Bronx Talk for this evening. Next week, we will begin a series of 5, count them, 5 political debates. We'll run through congressional races and assembly races as well. And so it should begin a very interesting and important time on Bronx Talk. Thanks to our great producer, Helen Greenberg, and all the other folks who helped put these programs together. And we'll see you next week. Good night.